Special Faith Journal Forum, where we're taping on location with Dr. Subramanian Swamy, who's an expert in economy. Also, he's a member of the Janata Party. He's the president of the Janata Party in India, former cabinet member in India, and also the author of the book Hindus Under Siege. We're going to have a discussion about Hinduism, India, relations with China, and other wide-ranging issues related to the great subcontinent. Welcome, Dr. Swamy.
Thank you very much.
My first question for you relates to the subject that we tend to see the most here in the West, and that is the matter of the caste system, the reverberations of the caste system in India. Could you describe for me where we stand with relation to the caste system?
Well, the caste system was originally not designed as a mutually antagonistic groupings. It was not even connected with birth. It's one of the retrogressions that caste has been connected to birth. The sages in their discussion on why the caste system should be created had said that there were four sources of power in a society: knowledge, wealth, weapons, and land. And this should be not in any one hand. In fact, not more than one should be in the hands of one person. Mm-hmm. So therefore, if you were pursued knowledge, and you are a seller of knowledge, or you are a teacher of knowledge, then you shouldn't have any wealth, you shouldn't have any weapons, you shouldn't have any land. And the society should give you donations so that you could live. And that's how our preachers and our sannyasis, our religious preceptors, etc., they lived in society, taught people, but their donations came from the public. If you were owner of the weapons, then you were the king, but you couldn't make policy. For policy, you had to go with people in knowledge. And same thing with wealth and land. So now this connection has to break. Now what you're asking a question is, what about today?
Yes.
Today, it is melting. The caste divisions are melting. There are intercaste marriages. But the most significant development that has taken place in the last 3 months is the fact that the two mutually antagonistic castes which grew over the centuries was the so-called untouchable caste or scheduled caste and the Brahmins. They coalesced together in a political party and gave that party a majority in the biggest, most populous state of the country, the Uttar Pradesh state. And a ex-untouchable caste lady became the chief minister or the equivalent of a governor.
I recall this, but you know, the thing that's interesting is the caste system appears to be embedded in spite of legislation. You cannot legislate people's emotions. You cannot legislate the way people think. Do you really believe the caste system is going?
It is melting, yes. The only place where people feel very strongly about castes are two. One, when it comes to elections, and two, when it comes to marriages. In other places, you can see here and there bigoted people acting on the basis of caste. But I think in the urban centers, there's hardly any. In the rural areas, we now find teachers who don't belong to the Brahmin caste. There are others from other castes. They're getting appointed by central legislation. And naturally, therefore, the melting process is going on. How fast it will go towards the end, I can't say. But it's quite clear that caste has become irrelevant. You know,
you've written this book, Hindus Under Siege, and we tend in the West to think of the caste system as being endemic to the Hindu religion. Yes. Explain that first, please.
Well, first of all, our religious scriptures are divided into two parts. One, which is revealed knowledge, which you can't amend. And the Vedas come in that. Then there is something called ordained by priests, which is called Smriti literature, which can be amended from time to
time.
It's not commentary, it's codes. You know, when a girl should get married, what should be the boy's responsibility, what the parents' responsibility. All these codes are part of the Smritis, and the Smriti can be amended, and much of all this business of castes is in the Smriti. So therefore, there is no religious sanction that caste should remain. It just happens to be convenient. Certainly convenient for politicians, because then you don't have to say, I built you a road and I built you a dam or I brought you electric power. You say, I'm your caste man. If I get defeated, then somebody else's caste man will become the representative.
So a different form of social stratification.
Yeah.
But one of the things we've followed on this particular TV program over the years is news of people converting to Buddhism or Christianity, rather large-scale conversions. Why does that take place? We understood that was to escape the strictures of a caste system.
I don't agree that the conversions are large scale. Even today, the Buddhist population has not crossed 1%. I think, first of all, if anybody converts to Buddhism, a Hindu will not feel upset because of the fact that Buddha was a great son of the Hindu. He was the incarnation of Vishnu, and all that he preached was a reform of Hinduism, which most of us accept today. That's not a problem. The problem arises out of the fact that there are still people who who think that Hinduism should be practiced in a certain obscurantist way, and that creates a problem. The second thing is that Buddhists, if you convert to Buddhism, then the privileges that the scheduled castes get as Hindus will be also extended to them.
Yes.
So therefore, they don't lose anything. At the same time, they can say we are not part of the Hindu social stratification.
But some states have actually enacted legislation that prevents conversion. Why?
They don't. There's no state which has enacted legislation which prevents conversion. But there are legislations, and surprisingly, in Congress ruled states began the process, and the latest one is also a Congress party ruled state of Himachal Pradesh, which is to prevent induced conversion.
Okay, explain.
Where money is involved or coercion is involved, and but if an individual converts, even under the act, there is no bar.
But it's okay to reconvert back to Hinduism.
There is no. If somebody says my ancestors are Hindus and I want to reconvert, you don't need any priest's permission. You just say I'm a Hindu, and the Hindus don't have a conversion ceremony.
Okay. So are people converting to escape the stricture of the caste system?
Yes, that the original motivation that led to conversion was partly that. Partly also there was 800 years of Islamic rule and 200 years of British rule, which was Christian. And both these definitely made it a disadvantage to be a Hindu. And the weakest link in that was those who were the most poor. And the most poor therefore converted. But then conversion took place across all castes. Even today I meet many Muslims who say that my great-grandfather was a Brahmin from this place or that place. One of the most famous editors of our newspapers called M.J. Akbar, he has written a book called Blood Brothers, where he says that my grandfather was a Kshatriya, that is the warrior class.
Okay, after the break I want to continue this discussion. Please stay with us. We'll be back soon.